Blessed greetings, each and every one. Well, it's story time again. So gather around and grab your candy, your popcorn, your smoothies, or what may have you. Gather around, ladies and gentlemen. It's story time again. Well, this story here is about two frogs who grew up together as tadpoles. They weren't brothers, but they were two different species of frogs. And one was fat, and one was skinny. One was green, and one was yellow and black. One day they were hopping along, just hopping along, and they came upon a barn. They saw that a farmer man had put down a bucket right there on the steps, kind of in the corner, but where the sun was. Well, they hopped on over after that farmer man walked away, and they were curious of what might be in that bucket. They hopped over and they reached the bucket, but the bucket was too tall and they couldn't figure out what was inside. So they hopped and they hopped until they got into that bucket. And they found out that there was some milk inside of that bucket. Well, they were glad and they drank till their bellies were full. When it was time to come out, they just couldn't come out. And all they could do was swim around and swim around and swim around in that milk. Well, they swam till they got tired and they were full. They both looked at each other and said, "How are we going to get out? We can't drink all this milk. If we drink it, we may drown from over drinking, or we just won't be able to hop out. How are we going to get out?" Well, they swam and they swam and they hopped as much as they could, and they just couldn't get out. And the fat one said to the other, "Friend, brother, it looks as if we're doomed. It might as well we just give up paddling. Just give up paddling and just give up." And the young one said, the other one said, "No, friend, we can't give up. We have to keep on." And they kept on and they kept on and they kept on and they kept on and they kept on. And they just couldn't get out. They couldn't swim anymore. They just couldn't get out. And they looked at each other in discomfort. And the big one said again, "It looks like we're gonna drown. We might as well stop." Well, the skinny one, he said, "No, we can't give up. Let's just paddle and paddle." And the big one said, "I just can't. I can't go on anymore." The little one said, "Paddle, my friend, paddle." So they paddled and they paddled and they hopped and they paddled. And they paddled and they hopped and they hopped and they paddled. And they got tired again and they looked at each other. And the slim one decided that he was going to give up paddling. And he gave up paddling, and the big one looked at him and said, "No, friend, you told me to keep on paddling and keep on. You have to do it. Come on, you can do it." And the little one looked at the big one and said, "I just can't. I can't do it anymore." And he just gave up and he drowned. Well, the big one, he just kept paddling and he kept paddling and he kept paddling. And he was frightened because his friend who he grew up from childhood with, from tadpole days, had just drowned from giving up. But that despair and that letdown made him paddle even more and more and more, and all he could hear was his friend's voice say, keep paddling, keep paddling. And he paddled and he paddled, and that milk eventually turned into butter. Well, he was glad, and with those sticky and tired feet, he hopped on out of that bucket. Well, he was glad to get back to where his place was, and eventually he met another female frog, and they grew up and they had kids. And that fat frog told his kids every day the story about what happened to him and his skinny friend. And he always told them to never give up, to keep going and keep going. As long as you have life, keep going. I appreciate you listening. Thank you. I hope you got something from this. God bless you. Sir Ron David said manners, love, and elevation.